G'day, my name's Youdaman, and today we'll be doing a screencast on how to do screencasts. It's going to instruct you how to use Dxtory in conjunction with XSplit to stream your favorite games such as Battlefield 3 to services such as Twitch TV. Now if you don't know what any of these things are, Google them. But first things first, I'm going to run through how to configure Dxtory. So what you can see here is the Movies tab of the program Dxtory. This program, Dxtory, is used to basically capture your game as you're playing it and send an image of that game somewhere else. So in this case, we're going to be sending an image of the game to two places. We're going to be sending it to my hard drive for recording, and also be sending it to another program called XSplit, which is used for streaming. So firstly, over here on the right hand side, you can see that I've set my settings to 60 frames per second and a resolution of 1280 by 720, and that I'm recording to a file. Now where is that file? You can see this under the folder tab. So I'm recording to my E drive in a subdirectory called Videos Dxtory. But back to the Movies tab. So this is how I'm going to be recording my files when I'm recording them with Dxtory. When I'm in game, they're going to be recorded to my hard disk at 60 frames per second at 1280 by 720. Now in terms of streaming, this other checkbox here called DirectShow output, that determines that the picture that's being captured is also sent as, for want of a better term, a camera to another application. Now in terms of how that's controlled, down the bottom here you've got this yellow icon. If you click on that, and here you can configure how you want this picture to be sent. So in this case, rather than 60 frames per second and 1280 by 720, I'm using 30 frames per second and 854 by 480. Reason being, Twitch and YouTube and a lot of these other video sites, most people view videos at 360p or 480p, so sending a video that's 720p or 1080p via a stream is sort of pointless because no one's really going to watch it at that, and also you're not going to get as much bang for your buck because you're trying to send more data up through your internet, and you'll probably end up with more lag because your computer has to do more work to send that much information. So for me, I set my streaming resolution and frame rate to 854 by 480 and 30 frames per second. Now what this does is this makes the picture that gets captured by Dxtory available to other applications as a camera. And just to demonstrate that, I'm going to bring up my desktop, and it's going to be a bit trippy because I've also got XSplit running live on the desktop, and as you can see, it's recording everything in this particular scene. But just to sort of point out what's what, when I actually have this thing running, you can see that you've got a number of scene sources running. If I was to wanting to add a game to this, I would say, add a camera, and in this case you'll see that Dxtory video 1, 2, 3 and 4 come up. Now what this does is this actually corresponds to the output 1, 2, 3 and 4 here over in this thing that we configured before with regards to Dxtory. So that's pretty much how you make the picture that is being streamed by Dxtory of your game available to XSplit. I won't go into how to configure XSplit for streaming. That'll be the topic of a later video. But I'll just run back over again how we've configured these applications. So just going back over to Dxtory, the main tab to focus on is the Movie tab. Your settings are whatever you want to record to your hard drive at over here on the right hand side. So for me it's 60 frames per second. Reason being, I might want to do slow motion work, so 30 frames per second isn't really enough, but if I've got 60 frames per second to play with, then that's plenty to do some slow-mo stuff. And 1280 by 720 is great for high definition stuff that I want to then later on upload to YouTube. But in terms of what we're going to be doing with streaming, make sure DirectShow is checked, and then click on the yellow icon to configure the camera that gets sent to other applications. And in this case, set a lower resolution and a lower frame rate because that means you're pushing less data up the interwebs, which means for a smoother experience for you playing, but then also a better experience for people watching you, because quite often they can't watch streams that are too high def anyway, because they have a bandwidth issue with downloading that much information. So something like 854 by 480 and 30 frames per second is absolutely fine. And just before finishing off, a couple of tabs you might want to keep note of. You can set a hotkey for recording. So in my case, I've got F7 bound as the capture key for Dxtory. So that means when you play with Dxtory and run a game, it'll actually have a number up in the top hand corner to tell you how many frames per second you're getting. And as soon as you hit that button, it goes from being a green number to an orange number to indicate that you're recording. And that's handy, so you can stop and start. And in conjunction with that, over here on the Advanced tab, you'll want to uncheck Start Movie Capture when detected. Otherwise, what will happen is when you actually start a game up, Dxtory will detect that game and automatically start recording, which might not be what you want. And at the same time, it also stops that toggling from being able to happen, so you won't be able to toggle it on and off and turn it on and off the recording. And what I'll do, again, I'll actually do one more thing just before finishing off here. I will actually demonstrate how this works in practice. So I'll switch back over to my full screen here and I'll fire up my web browser. Now what we'll do is we'll head over to Battlelog and I will actually connect up to a game. This, maybe not that server, it's got too many people on it. We'll go to my favorites. Okay, 14 of 16 in Kel's noob-friendly server. I'll click on that and join up. Now what's going to happen here is when the game fires up, you'll be able to see that Dxtory hooks into that game, and you'll see a little frame rate counter in the top left-hand corner of it. And what I'll do, I'll make sure to run it in a window just so you can see that, because I'm recording my desktop here. So we've got Battlefield 3 running over here. I'll just bring it up, and yep, it's in a little window. You can see the little green number in the top left-hand corner, right? Now, currently it's not capturing anything, so that means that number's fine. It's just telling you how many frames per second you've got. But if I wanted to capture what was going on here, I've got F7 bound to do that. So as soon as I press F7, you'll see that that number changes from green to yellow, and it tells me that I'm recording at so many frames per second, and I'm live at so many frames per second via the camera as well. And if I click it again, it stops recording. So my particular setup, I actually have a button set to record, and then I have another button set on my keyboard to then switch on the streaming, so that this records it, sends it to XSplit, and then as soon as I want to actually start pushing what's in XSplit to Twitch TV or some other streaming service, I then hit another key, and so I can turn that on and off just like that. So that's pretty much how you set up Dxtory to stream games. Now, you might be asking yourself, but hang on, why would I want to do this? Why would I want to use Dxtory to stream games as opposed to using just XSplit itself? Because it can also pick up games. If you actually go back to XSplit, you can see that, you know, you've got file, add a game, and in this case Dxtory, it thinks it's a game. But you know, if you're playing BF3 or you're playing COD or you're playing LOL or any of these other games, it would actually show up there as well. Why would I want to use Dxtory as a proxy in front of XSplit? Well, XSplit is really good at organizing videos for streaming and sending them off and organizing them and having scenes laid out so that you can toggle back and forth between things like this, and you know, just show one window at a time, or show nothing, or you know, show your entire desktop, and you can set all that kind of stuff up. But in terms of its actual video recording capabilities, it isn't as good as Dxtory. So what you do is you use Dxtory to actually capture the game, and then sort of use that as a proxy or a camera that then XSplit picks up. And the other benefit of that is it also records to hard drive. Now again, yes, XSplit can also record to hard drive, but I think, again, Dxtory has a few advantages there. And at least in my case, I've noticed that I actually get less lag when I use Dxtory in front of XSplit, as opposed to using just XSplit by itself. And for those of you out there that use other programs, maybe like Fraps, I'd recommend getting Dxtory just for the fact that I've also found that Fraps for me wasn't, A, it didn't have as many features, and B, I got more lag when I was playing games, and you know, lag is not what you want when you're trying to actually play well and record it. No one wants to play badly and record that. So yeah, that's how we set up Dxtory. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to present to you. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. And I'll do my best to explain things better in a future screencast. And thanks very much. This has been Youdaman, signing off. Bye.